Lesson 15 is about fractions, decimals, and percents. And the first problem asks us to write the fraction below as a decimal number. The fraction that we're given is 3/8. Now if we're given 3/8 as our fraction and we want to write it as a decimal, well, if you know what it is in your head, that's great. Write it down. If you don't know what it is from your memory, what we can do is we can say 3 divided by 8. And this will get us exactly to the right answer. So we know 8 never goes into 3. So we've got 0. We're going to add a decimal point, and we're going to add a couple zeros after the 3. Let's add 3 zeros today. 8 goes into 30. Well, we're going to get 8 goes into 30 3 times. That's 24. And we're going to subtract. We get 6. We're going to bring down the 0. 8 goes into 60. 7 times. We get 56. We subtract, and we have 4 left over. We bring down our last 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. Now the one thing we need to remember when we're dividing a decimal number by a whole number is the decimal point comes straight up. So we get an answer, and we're all done, of 0.375, or 375 thousandths. That's the exact same thing as 3/8. It's just written as a decimal. Let's move on to the next problem. Let's say we have these. We want to write each fraction as a decimal number. Now the first one, A, is really nice because if you can say this one 3 out of 10 or 3/10, you can write it directly as a decimal number. 3/10. 3/10 must look like 0.3 because that's a 3 in the tenths place. So we have 3/10 and we have our answer written as a decimal. Then we have 3/20. Well, 3/20, that's half of 3/10 is one way to think about it. So we could write our answer out that way. Or we could say 3, and we're going to divide it by 20. And let's see what we get. Well, 20 never goes into 3, so we have 0. We've got a decimal point. We're going to add 2 zeros this time. And decimal point will come straight up. 20 goes into 30 one time. We've got 20. We're going to subtract, and we have 10 left over. Bring down our last 0. 20 goes into 100 5 times. So we've got 100 with 0 left over. We've got an answer of 15 hundredths. Now earlier we said that 3/20 is half of 3/10. That's because the denominator is twice as big. So the number that's half of 3/10, 0.3, would have to be 15 hundredths, or 0.15. So we could have solved our problem B just by knowing what the answer to problem A was. Or we can use our division. Both of them give us the same answer. Alright, we went around 42.617 repeating to the nearest millionth. Now, remember this repeten bar. Okay, it means this is repeating. This is our repeten. This is what repeats. So we're going to get 42.617, 617, and that pattern of 617 will just continue to repeat. And we could keep going as long as we like. We're going to stop here. Let's review place value. We have our tens and our ones. Then we have our tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths, and millions. So we want to round to the nearest millionth. We're going to round to this number. In order to round to this number, we've got to look at the number after it. If it's 5 or bigger, our number rounds up. If it's less than 5, our number rounds down. So this number is bigger than 5. It's a 6. So we're going to get an answer of 42.617618 because the 6 is bigger than 5. And we've got our final answer. We've rounded this to the nearest millionth. Let's move on to our next example. We want to write 0.041 as a fraction. Now this is the problem where you have to know decimal place value in order to be successful. So of course we've got our ones, tenths, then we've got our hundredths, and we've got our thousandths. Okay, so we've got thousandths as the ones right here, as the 1 right here. So what this means is we have 41 thousandths, or 41 over 1,000. Now if you remember that 41 is a prime number, well, then you're all done with the problem because you're not going to be able to reduce it. So we can box our answer, 41 1,000th, and we're all done. We've written this number as a fraction. We'll continue this more with our lesson practice on page 57 during our next class. Make sure you got your notes completed, and I'll talk to you soon.